Strike in UK sees up to 500,000 workers walk off jobs in biggest industrial action in over a decade.
Here's a summary of the article.
London. An estimated 500,000 workers across multiple sectors in the UK went on strike Wednesday in the biggest industrial action Great Britain has seen in more than a decade. The strikers included teachers, civil servants, train and bus drivers, border officials and university staff demanding better pay and working conditions amid soaring inflation and energy prices, difficult circumstances that an IMF forecast suggests may have been exacerbated by Brexit. The government have been running down our education, underfunding our schools and underpaying the people who work in them, the National Education Union's Joint General Secretary, Kevin Courtney, said, according to the Associated Press. About 85% of schools across the country were either fully or partially closed due to the strikes on Wednesday, according to BBC News, leaving thousands of parents to either change their own work schedules or seek childcare options. Its new forecast this week sees the British economy shrinking by 0.6%. The IMF did not link its prediction to the UK's exit from the European Union 3 years ago, but Britain's trade has shrunk as a result, and many workers from the EU have left the UK since Brexit, causing a labour shortage that other European countries haven't had to contend with. UK Prime Minister Rishi Sunak has so far taken a hard line against the strikes, insisting that some of the pay increases being demanded by public sector workers are not affordable for the government. Union leaders say the government has refused to offer anything that would be meaningful enough to call off the strikes.
This post received a score of 11,000, with an upvote ratio of 98%. Here are the top comments in response to this article.
Province of Ontario in Canada is super jealous of workers in the UK and France standing up for themselves. Stay strong. Lots of support from your brothers and sisters over here.
The threat of a general strike was enough for Ford to back off his anti-strike legislation. Which is what this protest is about. Do we need to keep protesting and keep fighting? Absolutely. Especially 413, and selling off the Greenbelt. But winter sucks. I expect there will be some major protests starting as it warms up.
So you are saying Ford just needs to pass everything before the world defrosts and protests can start again? He's too busy sledding.
When the working class cannot afford to live on their own, something's very wrong. Strike away.
Solidarity from Australia, we are slipping down a similar slope in the public sector.
Protests will eventually break out. People are sick of dictator wannabes helping their billionaire masters bleed the people out.
This needs to be a global movement. I am fortunate to have a high-paying job but will walk out to join a general strike in a second in solidarity with those getting railroaded. Because if some of us are getting screwed, none of us should be okay with it.
I'm in a similar situation. I'm aware that once my neighbor is bled dry, they'll come for me next.
Yeah, you can't have a healthy country when it serves a minority of people. And it's just wrong and pathetic for us to sit here and let a few people control us.
Well said. A healthy society is one that cares for its most vulnerable.
In over a decade, I don't remember anything of this scale in my entire life.
It was 2012, similar numbers 400k then, and I've seen it's estimated near 500k now.
Isn't that about 25% increase in profits?
If you measured it based on total employees in the public sector, it's an increase of 28% who are striking versus 2012. But it's only a 1.88% increase in actual number of people, since that 500k only represents 8.6% of the public sector workforce.
I wish we could strike like this in America. I envy Europe in that regard.
If you talk about organizing and joining them, I've had people say shit sitches, that's never gonna happen. And in the private sector, they'll just be fired, and then what? They have to make a living. But most people are barely even making a living right now. That's the problem, and that's why you organize. But people act like it's impossible, never mind the fact it's happening in other countries right now, and has also happened plenty of times in the past. Most people would rather keep being slaves and crap on the other slaves who are fighting for their rights, rather than join them. If the past were in the hands of these people, we would still have child workers, no limit on work hours, and we would probably still be using literal slave labor. The only thing even remotely keeping this country in check is its openness to the EU and how easily people can leave the country. That at least ensures that when people in other countries fight for their rights, we have to at least try to stay competitive.
This video was automatically created by Reddit to speech. The article and comments in this video were selected from Reddit according to their upvotes, and any paraphrasing was performed by smmry.com, without any human intervention.